This is a pot that I acquired. This is Simon's. I didn't bring it because Simon was interviewing. It's actually one of my most precious objects. So Simon and I play Words with Friends, or we haven't for a while. Yeah. And Simon is really good, and I'm pretty good. But I think you have maybe 50% more wins than I do when we play together. So we made
not enough. Not enough, apparently.
But we have really, really great matches on Words with Friends, which is a crosswords puzzle game online.
I need to get in on that.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's fun.
Let me in because I like playing those games.
Totally. I'm going to invite you.
And I need friends.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Words with Friends. It's a So one day I said, Simon, we need to bet. And so we came up with the terms, and his term was, I can't remember how we got to this point, but I used to have this really Canadian mullet, right? Oh. Like
when
big.
you live in Canada for a long time, I don't know.
Well, like
it was not a hard rocking mullet.
It was a permed mullet, right? Like I had big hair in the '80s. I would post a picture of that from my high school days if he won, and if I won, Simon would create a Mickey Mouse inspired bowl for me. So this is actually one of my most precious objects. And here's the other part that I love about this. And it actually prompted me to start collecting this way. I actually screenshot.
By embarrassing people?
No.
This object embarrassed Simon, and then this object embarrassed Forrest.
I love that our time, and this is what I really believe about objects and about like sharing these moments, like that game is embedded in this object. So this is a very precious object to me.
I really like how you touched on that idea, though, of the connectedness with the person who made it. Yeah. I feel like I get in trouble all the time. Every time I go somewhere, it's like you bring home another mug, you bring home. This is when I go traveling, that's what I do. And they're all people and places, each of those objects. So we've got this cluttered cabinet where there's 2 levels on it, but everything is stacked 3 high within those 2 levels. And I've got young boys at home and my husband, and they're always just jamming this stuff in. And they're like, we're culling this, we're taking it out. And I'm like, those are people. Yeah. Those are people that I'm connected with. These are places that I've been, and they're as good as a photograph, if not better, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's exactly what they are to me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like a moment.
Exactly, it's a moment and an object.
Yeah.
There's a general belief that what we do is anachronistic, that it's unimportant, that it's old-fashioned, it's quaint. And I think you guys are doing a great job of recontextualizing it, of calling into question the importance of it, not just as a keepsake, but as an ongoing conversation.
So before we go too far away from this topic, I think it's important, because this is exactly one of the things that I guess that I'm trying to touch on and like empower other people to touch on, which is like, for example, if somebody says the idea of pottery is like old-fashioned, or like why are we sort of doing it, I feel like what we're saying is like the conversation that has been had before has been adequate, and I feel like in terms of representation, like it hasn't been. So like we haven't really had access to porcelain for a certain amount of years. Like I think a couple hundred years we've had access to porcelain. So when folks were making things with porcelain, they were making for the aristocracy, for the wealthy. And so I feel like right now is the only time where someone who comes from sort of like an impoverished community or a person of color would even like go to school for something like a pottery. Like it takes generations for sort of that structure to happen. And so right now we're getting the autonomy and agency to be able to like make that work. And so if we were to just move on and say it's old fashioned, we're saying like only the people that have done it before were worthy of this cause. And so I feel like there's so many new conversations to be had.
I was putting together a lecture series in the Bay Area when I got out of grad school, and I was trying to bring in people who were influential to the Bay Area, Northern California ceramic scene. It all happened to be sculptors, and I contacted all these people, and Robert Brady, and who did it end up being? Bob Brady, and Annabeth Rosen, and Richard Shaw, and someone else. But when I got to Annabeth, I contacted her, and one of the first things that she said was, well, I don't hear a lot of other women involved in this. And it was this moment where it was like, well, how is that possible? That not that she's saying that, but that didn't happen. because on a conscious level, I'll say to myself or to my friends that, gender and representation and sexism and all of that stuff, and I think I land in a pretty good spot on that spectrum. But I hadn't made a conscious effort to involve women in something. I think criticism is best when you don't know you need the criticism.
You're making an assumption.
Right, because as a potter, I knew I needed criticism, so I was comfortable with it. As a kid growing up, I knew I was comfortable with criticism of myself on a personal psychological level. But putting this show together, I didn't know that I needed the criticism from Annabeth that was, well, shouldn't there be more representation of women in this whole thing? And it caught me off guard, and I wasn't averse to it. I just didn't even realize it.